monster.
Hey guys, Klungai here, and today we're going to be talking about some ace tankers and exactly what are they, how do you get them, and if I'm not getting ace tankers, does that mean I'm bad at the game? Well, no. Let's get into what brought this about. Somebody named Hayden Schindler, he commented on the video. He says, I know this is off topic, but I've been watching your videos, and it honestly makes me feel like I suck at the game. I have 3,000 battles played and a 51% win rate. Listen, if you have a 51% win rate after 3,000 battles played, then you're doing something right. You're absolutely doing something right. I had when I was new to the game, about a 53 to 54% win rate, but that was because I was platooning with somebody who was a super unicum from the PC version, and I would only ever play while he was playing. I wouldn't play solo, and I feel like I would have maybe had a 51% or worse at 3,000 battles played if I wasn't always platooning. So I'd say you're already off to a really good start, so don't worry about that. And he says he hasn't aced any of the high tier tanks. He says, I see you and other console YouTubers do it like it's nothing. I just don't know what I'm doing wrong. I have 154 battles in my M103 alone and only have a first class badge in it. Do I really just suck this bad? No. As I said, no. So there could be unicums out there. In fact, super unicums out there. There probably aren't, but really, who have never aced their higher tier tanks. And the reason being is consistency. You could just really be a consistent player. That's all you could be. You know, like, hey, I'm just a really consistent player. And there you go. I'm always doing 4,000 damage a game at tier 10. Not enough to ace, but enough to win. And that's perfectly fine. And the fact that you have a 51% win rate means you are doing more for your team than nothing. So definitely just take this to heart. You're doing just fine. Aces require you being in the right place at the right time, the enemy team being in the wrong place at the right time, your team not being where they need to be so you can get damage off, or it needs to be your team is just a little bit worse than the enemy team, so it allows you to stay ahead of your team in regards of damage. While your team gets slowly killed, you're able to slowly also kill the enemy. This is what needs to happen for an ace tanker. Alright, and it's just that kind of awareness to know where you need to go, when you need to go on the battlefield will take time. And this game in the background, in the E50M, has nothing to do with me changing my positions or anything like that. I took one position with a platoon, a 4-man platoon, and people are just lining up and letting me shoot them over and over and over again. And because of my slightly more armor, I wasn't shot at as much as the rest of my team or the rest of my platoon, and so I was allowed to kind of sit here and just farm shot after shot after shot. So yet again, this has nothing to do really with skill, more so a good choice at the start of the game and then some backup, and that's it. And that's how we're having this game right here right now. This isn't so much a case of skill, and that will come with time as you begin to learn the maps a little bit more and more. As you can see, Trader Elite on my team in the other E50M, he decided to poke up. I didn't think it was time to poke up top there. I thought staying down here was the better choice because this is where our allies are, and it worked out for me, and it didn't work out for him. He kind of had tanks come up on both sides of his tank, and I get in trouble all the time because I'm told, oh, you're using the small mini-map, so you're not going to notice what's going on the other side of the flank, on the other side of the map, and that's completely not true. I noticed we lost the other flank while using the small one, and that they were probably going to come from both sides of this little middle area, and so I decided not to poke up yet until we had backup, and it worked out for me. So using this small map doesn't make you a bad player. In fact, I'm running a test right now to see exactly what the win rate of the average, at least my average player base, the people who watch my channel or in my Discord, what kind of win rates they have using the small map and what kind of win rates they have using the large map, and I'd just like to see once and for all which one actually is better. Of course, is one better than the other? No, I think it all comes down to preference, and to say somebody's bad at the game because they use the small one, or say somebody's bad at the game because they use a large one, is completely arrogant and not necessary. Back to the topic of aces. How does one get an ace? What is an ace tanker? Well, when you read the ace tanker badge, it says right here, awarded for mastery in controlling an armored vehicle. Third class 50%, second class 80%, first class 95%, ace tanker 99%. What does this mean? Well, theoretically, this means 1 out of 100 games will be an ace tanker. So they So does this mean they take 100 games and the game which is the best one out of those games is the ace tanker? No, that's not what they do. They take the average experience. The average experience in a tank would be 50%. So that would be a 3rd class mastery badge. Then if you double that, that's 100%. That is an ace tanker. Right there. That right there is an ace tanker. Which is good, because this means multiple people can get an ace tanker, or you could keep getting ace tankers over and over and over again if you've really mastered a tank and you know where you need to go all the time. And what I mean by this, let's take an example. Let's pretend I'm playing the tank. I'll say it. The T62A has an average base XP of 500. That means the average player gets 500 experience per game. That means the ace tanker, you're going to need 1000 base XP. Okay? Therefore, if you have an 1100 base XP game, you get the ace tanker. If you have a 1700, you get the ace tanker. This doesn't mean they take the last 100 games and they're like, alright, look at you, you've just had your best game ever in the T62, you get 1700 base experience, but someone else got 1800, so you don't get the ace tanker, you only get a 1st class. No. Like I said, it takes the average of the last 2 weeks, actually. And that's how they determine what an ace tanker is. And that's why there are some tanks, like the Canonian Jagdpanzer, which are super easy to ace. You need to get 5 shots off and boom, you get the ace tanker. And this is because only a couple people play them and they're not playing them well. They're averaging 400 base XP. All you need to do is get 800 base XP and boom, you've got yourself an ace tanker. And so that's how that works. So like I said, that means you could be playing super consistently in your tanks and just not getting ace tankers. It's just simple as that. Of course, no tank has an average base XP of 500 at the higher tiers. Alright, you're going to need about 16, 17, even 1800 base XP to get an ace tanker at the higher tiers. So the average experience at the higher tiers is usually around 800 to 900. So keep that in mind as well. So a 3rd class is going to be about 900 base XP. So don't worry so much about getting ace tankers, guys. Especially if you only have 3,000 games in this game. Figure out what you're good at, figure out what you like, and just enjoy the game for now. The more you enjoy the game, the better you're going to be at it, the more passionate you will be about the game. And that's what made me a better tanker, is I started to really enjoy this game. I was obsessed with it. This is the only game I wanted to play. You know, after school, after sports, after work, whatever I was doing, I wanted to go play World of Tanks. And that's what I would do. This would be my pastime, my after everything time. And I loved it. What really made me good, I think, at this game was watching YouTube videos. I learned a whole lot watching YouTube videos. I watched something I noticed in common was a lot of the time the players who do a lot of damage aren't, they're either A, not in direct fire, like I am right now, directly in the front, or B, they know positions where they can get hauled down and work ridge lines. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is use my turret armor to, you know, hopefully get to farm these guys. And I'm also not in direct fire now that my team has pushed up, and so it allows me to just keep getting shots out without them really paying attention to me. Of course, I got here a little bit early and I was super excited, and I lost a bit of health because, well, I didn't wait for my team, and that's something I do a lot in this game, and it gets me killed. If I had gotten to this position and kind of waited for my team and not taken hits until my team kind of caught up, I could have had a better game here because I might have had more health, but I didn't. And so all these things, like I said, they'll come with time, so don't worry about it. Eventually, especially since, you know, you're watching YouTube, you're making a conscious effort to get better at the game, you are going to get better. That's already better than probably 80 or 90% of the player base. The fact that you want to get better and are making an effort, asking questions. The biggest thing, asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Which is what you did. You asked, why am I not acing higher tier tanks? You have 3,000 games. Maybe you're not ready for higher tier tanks. I'm not saying you shouldn't play high tier tanks. 51% win rate absolutely deserves you a spot at higher tier, in my opinion, because you're already having a positive impact in the games, which is something that that shot right there, okay, which is something I believe 51% win rate is more than enough to play tier 10, because there are some players down there who are garbage. But perhaps you do feel like you're not quite ready for it. Well, then drop down a couple tiers. Go play tier 8, go play tier 7 maybe, play tier 6, have some fun, maybe start on another line, you know, work your way up. Like, you know what, I'm having fun with the M103, but am I really ready for tier 10? Of course, that's your own discretion. Perhaps you really don't feel like you're ready. Perhaps you do want a 52 or a 53% win rate. Maybe you want to ace your M103 before you move up, which would be another really good tactic to use is make sure you ace the tank before you move up a tier, which I think would really help the player base as well. I think a lot of players, once they ace the tank, they figured out the tank, then they move up the tier. And that would be another good tactic. But of course, remember, this is your own game. Do what you feel like you need to do. Aces happen. They're not something that is going to happen every game. Like, oh, it's a good player, he's going to get one every game. Now, for a YouTube channel, I like to show quality content. So I like to show good games, good plays. And that's not going to happen if I'm just showing, third classes or losses and so on and so forth. So I do pick and choose my games at times. Though those of you who watch my channel do know that a lot of times I will show you the really bad games, just because hey, I'm not super special. This is just how it is, And I've had some good games here and there, of course. But like I said, it's really luck based. It really is luck based. You could play all your life and never get an ace tanker, and you're like, wait, what? Why? And that's because, as luck would have it, you are never put in a position to get an ace tanker. Your team could raffle stomp every time. Your team could get raffle stomped every time. You could just so happen to pick the correct flank that you believe to be the right flank every time, but for some reason it just doesn't work because the enemy team doesn't go there, or your entire team goes there. I mean, it's luck of the dice, really. You're rolling dice every game you go into. Will you get a good team? Will you get a bad team? Will the enemy team be good? Will the enemy team be bad? Will you be in a position to set up if the enemy team is bad? Will you be in a position to support if your team isn't good? All these things have to happen. And of course, when you're a better player, you recognize these things a little bit more, or you're playing a faster vehicle like a T62A, so you're allowed to, get out of these bad situations a little bit easier, and so on and so forth. So, like I said, still don't take it to heart if you're not acing your higher tier tanks. Just, if you're acing your lower ones, that's good. 3,000 games, like I said, 3,000 games just is nothing to feel bad about not acing at 3,000, for sure. I would argue. So when I first started Zeta, I think I had about 7,000 games. I think it was 7,000 games, and I was on the lower end of WN8 in the clan. We had a couple of people who had much more WN8 than me, and it became a competition, a rivalry in the clan, should I say, which is incredibly healthy if you want to become great at something, is to have a rivalry with other people. And that was Zeta Squad. We used to always, like, oh, I had a better win rate this month, or I had a better WN8 this month. Back then, we loved the WN8. Nowadays, not so much. WN8 is very easily farmable, and it doesn't really show true skill. It shows that you have the ability to farm damage. Congratulations. Winning, in my opinion, is the most important stat in this game, because obviously it's a game. What's the point of a game other than having fun? Winning. Everybody wants to win. So we would always, every month, compare our recent stats and be like, oh, who did better this time? And we would strive to get better. I would watch YouTube channels. I would try different strategies, try different tanks, try to figure things out. And so that's something I really encourage. If you really want to get better at this game, join a clan, get some friends. I've got a nice Discord channel where people are playing together all the time. Do something like that, and guess what? You're going to make friends. You're going to learn their strats. They're going to learn your strats. You guys are going to play well with each other, or at least get used to each other, and figure new things out. And then maybe you'll form the rivalry. Rivalries, like I said, are really, really good for getting stronger. Just friendly rivalries. And now Zeta Squad is somehow ranked 3 on this game. I don't know how that happened. Because none of us were Unicum when I started the clan other than one player. And now most of us are Unicum, if not Super Unicum, and have 60% win rates. And it's like, where did that come from? It was because of the rivalry. We don't play competitive play. We don't spam premium rounds. We don't play all the overpowered tanks. We just got better at the game because we played with each other. And that is another big step into becoming better at this game and getting those ace tankers. Just play with people. Form a rivalry, a fun rivalry, guys. And that will help you out a whole lot too. Want to be better than the next guy, and you'll get better at this game. Alright, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed. You found this insightful. If you did, slap that like button. Comment, subscribe. Make sure you go check out SpaceBANDIT. And, of course, Koala Mentality is especially his if you're wanting to get better as well. SpaceBANDIT's got quality content. Koala Mentality has some good teaching content. So make sure you go check those guys out as well. And I'll be seeing you guys all later. Let me know your thoughts on Ace Tankers. And where were you when you really realized that you thought that you kind of figured out the game? Let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you guys all later. Take care, everyone. And peace out.